أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله سيد المرسلين وخاتم النبيين ورحمة للعالمين وصلى الله على آله الطاهرين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا أوصيكم عباد الله ونفسي بتقوى الله. In today's khutbah, I would like to talk about the importance of the principle of justice as the fundamental, foundation for stability and peace in society. We hear now a very famous slogan, no justice, no peace. And this is not just a slogan, this is a reality. That if you are looking for peace, you must go through the path of justice. Otherwise, there will be no durable peace in society at all. From the worldly point of view, people look at America as one of the most important and advanced societies. People from third world countries, pay to the agents, even put their families and their property into debt in order to get to America, legally or illegally. But when you look at the leader of the liberal democratic world, the United States of America, the president, even before he is elected, comes with this intention very clearly to his people that as soon as I come into power, I'm going to pardon my friends and supporters, even those who are convicted for storming the U.S. Capitol on the 6th of January 2021. So it's not even a hidden agenda. From day one, this concept is there, which is going against this principle of justice. Well, we might think maybe it was Republican President Trump who did this, or he was an aberration to the norm in U.S. But no, we see even Democratic President Biden does the same thing on the last day of his presidency by pardoning his own family members, his son, his two brothers, his sister-in-law, his sister and brother-in-law. I understand U.S. Constitution allows the president, to pardon people. But I don't think the intent of that clause in the Constitution was that you're going to be pardoning your, family members, even if they committed, crimes. And this is where we come to realize that, we might talk about advancement, we might talk about democracy and things like that, but stability and peace will only come if justice prevails. Salawat. And this is on both sides, whether it's the Republicans or the Democrats. You look at the executive orders issued by Trump, for example, that they will deport students and those without U.S. citizens who participate in pro-Palestine protests. Now, there is nothing new. Even before the elections, the Democrats had their convention in Chicago, and they blocked the request for a Palestinian people at that gathering. And, so this is where we see it's not only the political, parties, even the liberal academic institutions, so-called liberal, expel students for protesting or called in armed police to dismantle their protest or encampments. And, sometimes we look at the situation now and we say, well, this is a president who has gathered tech billionaires around himself. They basically run the machine. But it's not only the Republicans. The Democrats do the same thing. Kamala Harris, in her campaign, she had gathered billionaires and social influencers, people from the society. And so all are in the same boat. Some are crude while others are refined. And this is where we have to realize, don't always be fooled by what we see as far as, so-called modern system. Because the principles which are all accepted, they are there in the books. Nobody, disagrees on this issue, but the issue of implementation. No leader or official is above the law. Let me go to our own history. This is the days when the third Khalifa was in power. The year 38th after Hijrah, this is about 7 years into his Khilafat. He had a half-brother, a step-brother by the name of Walid bin Uqbah. They are all from Banu Umayyah here. And he had appointed him as the governor of Kufa. And remember, this is a Khilafat, a religious, leadership. And the governor in Kufa is half-brother of the Khalifa. And he had a friend, with whom he would sit down and drink. And not shurbat, we are talking about. And it seems that one night they started this process very late. And by the time it was Fajr time, he gets ready, he goes to the masjid, leads the Fajr prayers. While he was still drunk, even the zikr he said in sujood and ruku were interesting. And then at the end of 2 rakat, he turns around and he says, Hal azidukum. Should I add more rakat today? And they said, no, we are fine. We're already done, And some of the Sahaba who were there were very angry, very upset with his attitude. They actually followed him to his house, and though he was still drunk. And as an evidence, what they did was they took away his ring, and he didn't even realize that. And then they went to Medina and complained to the Khalifa about, his half-brother. That this is and the Khalifa, instead of saying, okay, are you willing to testify against him and I'll take action, he threatens them. They said, did you see him drinking? They said, we didn't see him drinking, but we saw him drunk. And this ring is the proof that he didn't even realize when we took it from him, and we did it for that purpose. And, he didn't really care about it. He was very angry, and this is where, they end up going to others. Eventually, they went to complain to none other than Amir al-Mu'minin Ali bin Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam. And Imam went to Osman. He said, if these witnesses are credible, if you don't have any evidence against their authenticity, then you'll have to take it seriously and you will have to implement the punishment. And this is where he still refused to do that. He said, okay, if you do it. And Amir al-Mu'minin said, yes, I'll do it. And this governor's name was Walid bin Uqbah. And Amir al-Mu'minin actually punished him. And at every, lash, he would basically curse Ali. But this is where we come to realize that, when it comes to Amir al-Mu'minin, this is the same person who has been mentioned. In Dua Kumail, we have a ayat that we recite, أَفَمَنْ كَانَ مُؤْمِنًا كَمَنْ كَانَ فَاسِقًا لَا يَسْتَوُونَ. This is in Dua Kumail, but it's an ayat of Quran that can a mu'min and a fasiq, somebody who openly does sins, can be equal? No. And there, mu'min is Ali alayhi salam, and fasiq is actually Walid bin Uqbah. It is in that context that the ayat was revealed. This is during the days of the Prophet, of course. And this is where we see that Amir al-Mu'minin took this issue of justice, holding the Khalifa responsible, that you cannot show this, favor just because this person is related to you. And this is where we see, it's not surprised that even centuries after passing away of Amir al-Mu'minin, when a person like George Jardaq wrote on the biography of Ali, the title of the book was Sawt al-Adalat al-Insaniya. Ali, the voice of human justice. Means his example still stands up now in history as a symbol of justice. Many Arab historians actually, when they talk about his shahadat, they have a phrase that they say, قُتِلَ فِي الْمِحْرَابِ لِشِدَّةِ عَدْلِهِ. Ali was killed in the mihrab because of his insistence on justice. And so, remember, it's not easy to be a Shia of Ali. We have to live up to that example of Amir al-Mu'minin Ali bin Abi Talib alayhi salatu wa salam. إن أحسن الحديث كتاب الله العزيز بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحليم الكريم غافر الذنب وقابل التوب وهو الغفور الرحيم ونشهد أن لا إله إلا هو العطوف للعباد بجوده والعواد على المذنبين بحلمه ونشهد أن محمدا نبيه وحبيبه سيد المرسلين وشفيع المذنبين ورحمة للعالمين صلى الله عليه وآله الداعين إلى سبيل الله بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة قادة الأمم وأولياء النعمة ومعدن الرحمة أوصيكم عباد الله بالتوبة ما سلف من ذنوبكم. President Trump, talking about the Middle East, where he came with the campaign that I would like to keep America away from all these forever going war in the Middle East. And now he's getting involved into it. He says we are going to take over Gaza from Israel. It's not for Israel to give, number one. And you don't have any right to take it, number two. And the condemnation on a global level is very, very obvious. Even the UN Secretary General clearly said that if you try to displace the Palestinians from there, it is nothing but ethnic cleansing. It's amazing that he sits down in the same room with the Israeli Prime Minister and says that Gaza is not a place for people to be living, and the only reason they want to go back is because they have no alternative. Did you send a survey to the Palestinians in Gaza? But when he's talking about, it's not a place to live anymore. He says, it has become a wasteland. It's a demolition site. He doesn't say anything about who is responsible for turning Gaza into a wasteland. That fellow is sitting just few steps away. And this is where you have to remember all the time, سَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيَّ مُنْقَلِبٍ يَنْقَلِبُونَ. The Zalimin can have their way, but eventually justice will prevail, inshallah. Salawat. One more statement from Amir al-Mu'mineen on the issue of justice. Some of the companions of Ali were very intelligent people, and we thank them for the questions they would ask. I don't know what was the context. Did Ali alayhi salam said something before it? Or was this after a khutbah or something? A fellow stood up and asked, Al-adlu afdal am al-jud? That, oh Ali, comparing justice with generosity, justice with charity, among these two, what is better and more noble? And remember that when we talk about, charity, this is so much emphasized in all religions, including in Islam. Muhammad and Ali Muhammad are examples for us at the highest level. When it comes to the issues of charity, so the answer should have been very easy. That of course, charity, Jude is afdal. But this is Ali. And he says no. He says, Al-adl يضع الأمور مواضعها والجود يخرجها من جهتها. He gives two reasons before he comes to the conclusion. He says, number one, remember, justice puts everything in its right place, whereas generosity actually takes things away from their place. Not a negative way, but it's not there. Compared to justice, everything is there in the right place, whereas generosity means things which were supposed to be with you, you willingly gave it away. And number two, he says, وَالْعَدْلُ سَائِسٌ عَامٌ وَالْجُودُ عَارِضٌ خَاصٌ. Justice is a general, guide who will take you forward, whereas generosity is a particular benefit which is not general. And therefore, he concludes at the end, فَالْعَدْلُ أَشْرَفُهُمَا وَأَفْضَلُهُمَا. And therefore, justice is more noble of the two and more, better of the two. This is in Nahl al-Balaghas, saying number 437. And this is where we have to realize that, everything has to be in the right place. In one of the speech that I gave on the wiladat of Abbas bin Ali alayhi salatu wasalam, I referred to this in a different context, where Amir al-Mu'mineen, in the will that he wrote, which was specifically for his endowments that he had created in Medina and around Medina, and that was the source of living for the children of Ali, where he had asked them that, a portion of it will be used for yourselves, but the rest has to be given in charity. There in the will, which was after the Battle of Siffin, he designated Hassan bin Ali alayhi salam as the custodian. And then he says if something happens to him, then after that Hussein would be the custodian. And later on, then he doesn't say anything. It will go by the rules of inheritance. Who will be the closest one will become the custodian of the endowments. And this property is actually, since I'm talking about it, this continued till the days of the sixth Imam. And we know that because there was a dispute about who will be the custodian at that time from the descendants of Ali. But there, Amir al-Mu'mineen says something very profound where he says that remember, all my children are equal in my eyes. As far as the rights are concerned, the sons will get everything similar to what Hassan and Hussein have. And the daughters will get whatever is their share, just like Zainab and Kulthum. But then he says, and this is where we are talking about justice, but he says when it comes to this issue of why I am giving this custodianship, I could have chosen anyone, doesn't even have to be a family member, but I chose Hassan, and then after Hassan, Hussein, because I wanted to show this importance of the children of the Prophet. You all are my children, but Hassan and Hussein are the sons of Rasulullah. So in a way, he shows the importance, but when it comes to the haqq, he says, the haqq of them and you, other children, are all same according to the laws of inheritance. And this is where we have to realize that, when we talk about justice, this is a very important issue, and Amir al-Mu'mineen was indeed the embodiment of adl and justice. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to be among the true followers of Ali bin Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam. اللهم صل على سيد المرسلين وشفيع المذنبين نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وعلى إمام المتقين وأمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب صلوات الله عليه وعلى سيدة نساء العالمين سيدتنا فاطمة بنت رسول الله صلوات الله عليها وعلى سيد الشباب أهل الجنة الحسن المجتبى والحسين الشهيد بكربلاء عليهم الصلاة والسلام. اللهم صل على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي عليهم الصلاة والسلام. اللهم صل على مولانا الحجة بن الحسن صاحب العصر والزمان ما أحيا صار البدء والطغيان هادم أمير الشرك والنفاق حاسد يفر البغي والشقاق صلوات الله والسلام عليه وعلى آباء الكرام ما اتصلت الليالي والأيام. اللهم عجل فرج وصح المخرج واكحل ناظرنا بنظرة منا إليه واجعلنا من المستشهدين بين يديه. اللهم اجعلنا ممن يذكر فتنفعه الذكرى. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون.